Hi guys, Jamie from Boxing Life, and in today's video I wanted to give you my tactical overview and prediction for the unification super featherweight clash between Oscar Valdez and Shakur Stevenson. This fight on paper should be a good contest stylistically, and there are areas both fighters can exploit. Oscar Valdez had a great run at featherweight from 2016 to 2019 before moving up to 130 pounds. In 2019, he changed his team by deciding to go with Team Canelo and Eddie Reynoso, which seemed like a smart move in his development, especially considering the rise of Canelo to become a pound-for-pound star. Since this move, he had a convincing display over Burchelt, where he got a devastating knockout. However, things would quickly turn sour for the Mexican as he was due to make his first defense versus Robson Conceição. It was revealed by VADA that Valdez had tested positive for a banned substance. Somehow the fight was allowed to go on and Valdez put on a lackluster display against a fantastic boxing display from Conceição. However, somehow Valdez did just enough to get a decision, with his reputation looking pretty tarnished. Stevenson, on the other hand, has been slowly making his mark on the sport, as the silver Olympic medalist has looked better with each fight. However, the level of competition has simply not been up to his standards until his most recent fight against the experienced former WBO super featherweight champ Jamel Herring, and this for me was the coming of age fight for Stevenson as he backed up his words and dismantled him in a convincing victory. But now, let's look at both fighters and what will be required to win on April 30th. First up, let's look at Oscar Valdez. Going into this fight, Valdez, as far as I've seen, has not faced a southpaw in the ring since 2014. Valdez had an extensive amateur career and even faced Lomachenko at one point, so it's not like he is unaware of how to face southpaws. However, this is a cause of concern for me going into a unification bout of this magnitude against a world-class southpaw like Stevenson. Luckily, there's been some sparring footage released of him training with southpaws that shows maybe some of the tactics him and Eddie might employ in this fight. First and foremost, Valdez has tremendous power, which he can use to his advantage in this fight. Stevenson cannot afford to get sloppy at any point or underestimate this. In the early rounds, we need to see Valdez using feints and doubling up his jab to keep Shakur at bay and stop the American from peppering him with his own accurate jab. From here, it's all about timing Stevenson's lead hand, or his straight down the middle, by slipping the shot and throwing his own power left hook or right straight to the body. This is something we've seen the likes of Canelo use against Lara, and even more recently against Billy Joe Saunders, who were both southpaws. He used this to great effect in the opening rounds to help create openings later down the line. As the old saying goes in boxing, chop the body and the head will fall. This for me will be key for Valdez to get off those vicious left hooks on Stevenson later in the fight, or even look for a big right uppercut if these shots make Stevenson start to bend to the waist to avoid these shots. This for me will be key for Valdez to get off his vicious left hooks on Stevenson later in the fight. Shakur also makes it very difficult to get to him with his pawing lead hand and subtle backward foot movement. But from looking at sparring footage of Valdez, it looks like they're trying to be patient with their approach and taking control of the centre ring, and possibly push back Shakur to the ropes, similar to his fight with Conceição. As I said just before, he's clearly looking to set up those left hooks and the right hand by getting his foot on the outside of his opponent, but to get those shots off up top, he'll need to have his timing and precision spot on. Now I'm looking at Stevenson, straight from the off, it's hard to see an area of real struggle for the American tactically going into this. This fight to date is without a doubt the toughest opponent in my opinion for him, but that is more because of the danger of the power shots Valdez possesses. Stevenson is also one of the hardest fighters to hit, especially to the head, but you could argue that he's only faced one or two top quality opponents to date. Stevenson has also encountered many opponents of a similar style to Valdez since the beginning of his career, while also facing many orthodox fighters, unlike Valdez, who has not fought a southpaw since 2014. In my opinion, Shakur will take advantage of this lack of experience and try to break down Valdez over many rounds. Shakur for me has to be one of the best counterpunchers in boxing, if not the best. He is tremendously good at timing his opponent coming in, throwing unnecessary shots by just taking a simple half step back before quickly firing back with his own. Due to Valdez's lack of experience in recent years, Stevenson will probably look for Valdez to try and commit shots early on so he can try and counter him with his back left hand. The pressure of course will be on Valdez to put pressure on Stevenson so he can get off these body shots as I just discussed. But Stevenson's IQ and quick feet can really help him quickly get out of that situation from when he's getting pushed back to the corners. Another area I think the American will look to exploit the Mexican is his punch rhythm. Usually in a southpaw versus orthodox encounter and vice versa, you will often see pawing-like motions from both fighters as they try to dominate with their lead hand. However, Stevenson is very good at drawing the opponents into this battle, and once an opponent mistimes his, you'll often see the American counter with a quick combination burst. Not only that, he's extremely accurate with these punches, and he starts to do damage with this over time. You even see Valdez falling victim to this in some of his sparring clips. Prediction. As you can probably tell from what I've discussed, I find it very hard to see Oscar Valdez winning this fight. But never say never in boxing. You can't look past he is one of the best trainers in the world in Eddie Reynoso, and the fact he has knockout power. This is a fight for me where he needs to make the most of those body shots early and be patient for openings in the later rounds. Nevertheless, like so many before, I can already see him get frustrated and start to rush his work if he can't get past Stevenson's lead hand. For Stevenson, he just needs to keep doing what he's been doing so far in his career and look to counter and pick apart Valdez over 12 rounds. There's no point trying to go for broke and try and knock out Valdez in this fight, as he can't afford to risk getting hit by one of those huge power shots. In my opinion, I can see Stevenson winning this fight over 12 rounds, picking apart Oscar Valdez and outboxing him. I can even see a late finish from Stevenson if Valdez can't cope with what's in front of him. I hope you enjoyed this tactical breakdown. Let me know who you think is going to win in the comments below. If you want more content like this, make sure to check out my Shakur Stevenson breakdown video, or why not check out my Spence versus Ugas tactical breakdown. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to hit that like button, it really helps out the channel, and if you're new here, why not subscribe. As always guys, thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.